Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Russian Tier 7 light scout tank, the LTTB. So is it any good? Yeah, I think it's a very good scout tank. I quite like it. I don't particularly like scout tanks, but this one's pretty good. I like it because it's got good frontal armor and can take a hit, especially from lower tier scout tanks and sometimes medium tanks. And it has a very good gun, a very long gun, as you can see, which has very good penetration, and so you can actually do a fair bit of damage in this tank because you can penetrate some lower tier tanks frontally, and even tier 10s you can penetrate the sides and rear of them pretty effectively, which means that you can actually get some damage done, which is pretty much the only way in a scout tank you can earn any XP these days, because if you scout, nobody seems to shoot what you scout in most games. So really, if you're relying on scouting for XP, it's pretty hopeless. But this one, you can actually do the damage. And it's quite an enjoyable tank to play. It has one major flaw though, and that's its gun depression, which I'll talk about in the review. So actually, let's get into the review. This tank has 950 hit points, which is the most of any Tier 7 light tank. The least goes to the T71 with just 840 hit points. Now this tank has a weight of around about 23 tonne, which makes it the second heaviest. The heaviest is the M41 Bulldog, seen here. That's the heaviest at about 23.5, 24 tonne. So the LTTB, pretty heavy, and you can ram pretty much any scout tank you see, and you'll be fairly effective with it. Also, it's very fast, so ramming works really well. The lightest tank in class is the SP1C with just about 10 tonne, so ram those any chance you get. Now, the speed of this tank, well, it's the second fastest in class. The fastest is the Bulldog at 72 kilometers an hour and 24 in reverse, but this thing does 68 in forward and 20 in reverse. Now, the thing is though, this tank, I believe, because as you can see, I've got both those tanks at the moment, this one has better acceleration, I think, and it does better up hills and it does better over rough terrain than the Bulldog does. This thing is just super powerful and really accelerates and goes like a rocket. And it just feels faster than the Bulldog to me. As far as the track traverse goes, well, it's kind of average, I guess, at 48 degrees a second. The best is the Bulldog yet again, and also the T71. They both have 56 degrees a second, but 48 is okay. The worst in class is the AMX 1375 at just 40 degrees a second. By the way, I'm not including the Aufpanzer in this review of the Aufpanther, because it's kind of not available anymore, and it has been replaced by the SP1C. Now, the turret traverse on this tank is 50 degrees a second, which is pretty darn good. The only tank better than that is, once again, the M41 Bulldog with 52 degrees, and the worst in class is the T71 with 44 degrees. So this is a mobile, a very fast tank that turns quite well, also has quite good turret traverse, so it does handle pretty darn well. Doesn't handle as well as the M41, but I think it has more acceleration. Now, when it comes to view range, Russian tanks are usually awful, but this thing has 390 meters of view range, which is pretty good. And most of the tanks, the light tanks, have about 390 meters view range, except for the T71, the M41 Bulldog, and the SP1C. They all have 400 meter view range. So this one is with the 390s. So it is a little bit difficult when trying to spot against tier 10s, because a lot of those have good view range and you can sort of get spotted a little bit easily, but at all other tiers it seems to do pretty well. Signal range of around about 761 meters is pretty good and not a problem at all. There's the only one with a better signal range is the WZ131 with about 782. The worst is the Type 62 premium tank with 625, but all of those are pretty good. The camouflage on this tank is, well, it's kind of average, I guess you could say. The worst in class is the T71, and the best in class is the AMX 1375F, the premium 1375. So this is sort of, I guess, in between those, or maybe on the lower end a bit. It's not bad, but it's not great. The gun depression on this tank, though, is truly awful. Look at that gun. It's a fantastic looking gun. It's longer than the tank, I think. Yeah, gun depression though is pretty bad. Only 3 degrees, which is the worst in class, and has 15 degrees of elevation, which also isn't great, but it's sort of adequate. But yeah, it does create a lot of problems. Now, the best in class would be the M41 Bulldog and the SP1C. They both have 10 degrees of gun depression. Fortunately, though, the gun depression problem is mitigated a little bit by the speed of the tank. In other words, you can relocate to a piece of terrain that will allow you to get your gun down on your opponent most of the time. So from that point of view, it's not as bad as it would be on, say, a heavy tank if it had that gun depression. However, I've had situations where I've been 20 meters away from, for example, a E50, and I wanted to shoot in a lower plate, but I couldn't even get my gun low enough to shoot it on flat terrain, shoot its lower plate, simply because the gun depression is so bad. So in situations like that, it can be a disaster, and you do have to be a little bit careful not to put yourself in situations like that. Let's have a quick look at the grind for the tank while we're here. So the tracks, look, they're definitely worth it because they take your traverse up a little bit, but it's not a big deal. The engine power goes good with the stock engine. The radio you have to get anyway, but yeah, it's not a big deal. This gun is, in my opinion, the only gun worth considering on the tank. 11.76 rate of fire, which is not bad for a light tank. 170 mils of penetration is very good and comparable, for example, to an IS, I think has 175 at tier 7. So 170 at tier 7 for a light tank is really, really good penetration and will penetrate the sides and rears of a lot of tier 10 tanks. And it does 180 damage per shot, which is not bad, especially combined with that rate of fire. It's pretty good. 216 mils of penetration is available with premium ammunition, which pretty much means there's nothing you can't penetrate if you really want to. The HE ammunition has 44 mils with 300, but I really couldn't find anything I wanted to use that on. Accuracy of 0.36 is very good, and it does kind of wander a bit at long range. It's probably, yeah, look, it probably is around about 0.36 the accuracy. I suppose that's about right. And it has 2.1 second aiming time, which is very, very good. You can deal out quite a bit of punishment with this tank. And even though I've been able to deal out, I had some games where I have dealt out quite a bit of punishment, I haven't managed to get mastery in this tank. So there are people out there having really, really big games in this tank. So the potential is there. I personally aren't good enough to realise the full potential of this tank, but I'm sure some of you will be. So I have a toolkit, binoculars, and a camouflage net fitted. I wouldn't probably go with the toolkit. I'm not going to keep the tank, but if you're going to keep the tank, you'd probably go with something else. Small repair kit, large repair kit, large first aid kit fitted, and my crew is pretty well trained. My commander has 6 Sense, 100% camouflage, and is currently working on recon. This guy has camouflage and snapshot, is currently working on Deadeye. This guy has camouflage smooth ride, is currently working on controlled impact, because it is a good ramming tank. And this guy has camouflage and is currently working on situational awareness. Let's have a look at Tanks GG to have a look at the armor layout and get into some gameplay. Welcome to the Tanks GG website, where we're looking at the armor layout on the LTTB. Let's have a look at the hybrid view. This tank has excellent frontal armor for a scout tank. The lower plate, or the lower glacis we can see here, is 75mm thick, which is really, really good. And with the sloping it has, if we get to the height of a normal tank, would normally be higher than a scout tank, it's coming up, around about 130 mils. If we're the same height as a scout tank, still around about 130 mils. The upper plate is 90mm thick, which is truly awesome, and it comes up around about 130 to 140mm of effective armor, which is great, and there are no real weak spots in it. Even the side portions here, where it slopes away, as you can see it's sloping here at the front, is actually 45mm thick, but it gives a consistent armor. So look, you see here 145. If I keep going, it's still giving me 140, 150, 160. So the idea with this tank is, if you come across another scout tank, keep the front of your tank pointed towards the other tank. Don't angle, because you're exposing this. Looks very weak when you angle it, 60 mils. Keep it front on, and this is still quite good, 150 mils, that sort of thing. The turret is also very strong at 90mm of armor, and it does slope away and becomes very, very good, as you can see here. And it does have a mantlet, as well on there, which in some places you can see is 20mm over the 90, other places it's 45mm over the 90, other places it's 30mm over the 90. It does vary a lot, but it still is a very, very good mantlet. Even the cupola is 90mm thick, which is sensational. One of the reasons I wanted to get this tank was because I think I was in I might have been in an Easy 8, and I saw one of these, and it was a scout tank, and I thought, I'll just blow it away. and I bounced 4 shots in a row off the front of its tank, and it blew me away, and I thought, I've got to get one of those. So that's why I got this tank. So yeah, it is surprising. You will surprise people when they think, oh, it's a scout tank. Some of the lower tier medium tanks, you can just take them on. But definitely the sides are a bit weak. So you can see here, this side armor is 45mm, and that other bit there is so I think the rest of it's, oh, the upper part's 45, the lower portion is 40. Yeah, the lower portion is 40. So if you and another scout are circling each other, and they'll be able to put shots into your side quite easily. So the idea is not to do that. The idea is to stop and just let them circle you, but keep the front of your tank facing them so that they have to try and get through this armor. And in that way, they will bounce a couple of shots and you'll be able then to mow them down. If you try and circle them and play their game, then they will unfortunately start to pen you pretty easily. So the front part of the turret was 90mm. The side of the turret here is 75mm, so even from the side, the turret is quite tough. Looking at the back here, it's 40mm, upper and lower, and the rear of the turret is 52mm. And we've already talked about the side armor, haven't we? The top deck is 20mm, and the same at the top of the turret, 20, but the top of the cupola is just 15. All in all, a very well armored tank, but do keep the tank pointing straight ahead towards your opponent. Don't try and angle it. But this tank does ram very, very well, and I have got a fantastic ram to show you. But yeah, definitely keep the front of your tanks at your opponent. Don't expect though to bounce sort of bulldogs and stuff like that. Like some of the scout tanks of your own tier can punch through this armor, and medium tanks. It's mainly the lower tier scouts and mediums that will struggle to penetrate you. But you do run across them when you're scouting, and it's good to bully them. I have actually backed tanks into a corner and just kept them pushed into a corner and just pelted them, and they couldn't penetrate me. So you can use it for that sort of thing. So I talked about ramming and out-muscling lower tier tanks. Watch this. Yeah, he did 77 damage to me, and we did 400 and killed him. Not bad, eh? A lot of fun. So the map is Mines. It's one of those encounter mode battles with the single cap point. I am in the LTTB, a very fast tank, as you can see. Even going across the water there, it was pretty quick. We're doing over 60 kilometers an hour right now. And of course, because I'm in a very fast tank, I'm going for the centre. Now it's a tier 8 game. Very rare to get tier 7 games, or not very rare, but obviously the most you're going to get is about 25% of your games being top tier. So we're not top tier, we're tier 7. It's a tier 8 game, and there's quite a few tier 8s, but we've made it successfully to the centre. That AMX ELC there would have no hope against us here, since our gun reloads a lot more quickly, so he had to back away. Now I can start using the excellent gun with great aiming time and great penetration here to try and pick off some people. I'm talking about great penetration. I bounced off a Chi-Ri. Is that even possible to bounce off a Chi-Ri? I've got 170 mils of pen. I have no idea how that bounced, but it did. Anyway, being a little bit cautious here, even though my frontal armor is good, it is still a scout tank. And it looks like they're not wanting to play the game at the moment. Pershing looks like it's going to try and come forward, but he stops. Don't think they'd be proximity spotting me. I have got 6th sense, so it hasn't gone off, so they can't be proximity spotting me yet. So here we go. Chi-Ri is coming. He gets one into us. He bounces one, and he bounces the second shot. He's got a 3-load magazine. I don't know what happened to that shot, whether I missed or it bounced. But anyway, you can see there we bounced 2 of the Chi-Ri shots. Chi-Ri has around about 170 mils of pen, I think. We get one into him and back off. You can see the aim time is very quick, so it's great for this sort of work. He missed us with the first one. The second one hit us. We know he's got a 3-clip magazine. Has he got 1 shot left? Yep, but he hits us with it. But now, oh, silly me. I should have just popped out and started shooting him. That's why he's running. It's because he had a 3-shot magazine and he'd used these 3 shots. As soon as he fired that 3rd shot, I should have really just popped out and nailed him a couple of times. That was my bad there. But anyway, we certainly made him retreat. So I did get hit though by the Chi-Ri. I've had taken 3 hits, so I didn't really do that well. I mean, he got some hits on me, I got some hits on him. That Pershing is not looking at us, so perfect opportunity to put one into him. As you can see, average damage of 170 isn't fantastic, but it's not bad. I mean, oh, we just bounced a shot off a bulldog. Couldn't even see the bulldog, must be in a hidden position, but we did bounce. There's a T-44 out there. And we get one into him, 188 is a good damage roll off this. I'm going to fire a couple more in case he's still just near that rock. Never know, we might hit him. He's still there. Now, I'm a bit worried about where that bulldog was. Must be hiding one of those bushes back there. He didn't get spotted when he shot me, though, so he must be a fair way back. But as you can see, armor holding up great. Now, not M41 bulldogs usually do penetrate me, but I think it's normally when I'm at close range and we're circling and that sort of stuff. As you can see from range, it probably loses enough pen that it just can't get through the frontal upper plate or the turret. So if you are somebody who likes the idea of being in a very fast tank that can really take an active part in the game, but you hate the idea of not having any armor, this could be the tank for you, provided you can overcome the problem with gun depression. Now, where I've just been working is not bad because the tank is, when I'm around that corner, it's tilted down. Whoa! T-21! I decided to move forward, and turns out my teammate there, the AMX 5100, nails him in the back. I was in big trouble there. Thank you to my AMX 5100 teammate. So yeah, if you like a tank that has some armor, see there I had to move forward to get the gun depression to be able to shoot that bulldog because I was a bit flat and I couldn't get my gun down. This particular part that I've been working does have a downward slope, so I can work it quite successfully with this tank, but there are areas where really in this tank you just can't work in this tank that you could work, say, in the bulldog that does have good gun depression. So you are limited in some ways. You just have to kind of, through trial and error, I guess, work out where the good spots that you can use are. Unfortunately, with things like this, sometimes you do have to push your tank a little further over the edge than you'd like to, and it is harder to retreat sometimes, so you can get caught sometimes. Just gotta be careful that this STA in front of me here doesn't come back too quickly and proximity spot me for any TDs or anything. Now, I can see on the map where it's kind of even, but I noticed that first I think about going around here. Actually, no, I do go around here, don't I? No, I thought it was later in the game. So we're being capped. So I decide to see if I can spot cap. As you can see, I can't shoot anybody from here because my gun depression isn't good enough. I'm just hoping that maybe I can spot where they are, and then somebody else on our team might be able to shoot. If you're looking at my gun now, look how high it's pointing. I cannot get my gun to point anywhere near down there, and unfortunately I can't see anyone. So I decide to, I'm going to have to go down and and do something about this. But I'm just going to have another look first before I do. Sort of hanging out over the edge here a little bit. And someone's been spotted. Oh, it's a Pershing's just been spotted there. I don't really want to drive out in front. The STA one has now been spotted. I don't know if it was me that spotted him or not. But it's spotted. I can't shoot it from here, and I don't want to drop down here because the Pershing's waiting around the corner. So I decided to go around the longish way, I guess you could say, and maybe shoot the STA one from the back or the Pershing. And then I see where our AMX-50 has actually gone into the cap because I'm watching the map pretty closely. And I think, oh yeah, he seems to be dealing with it. And I think, you know what? There's not many tanks left. I'm just going to go for their arty. And as soon as I come through the bush, look at that, they're both there. I go, oh wow! So I move around the rock here. This thing has a lot of speed, and as long as I keep moving, very hard for arty to hit me. So I lock on here with auto aim. And we get a hit there, but now I can't shoot him again because of my gun depression. I cannot get my gun in. Now I can, but it misses, actually shoots the hill. Once again here, gun depression not good enough to get my gun on him. Now I can. Or no, yeah, now I can. Okay, so we get him. This guy fires at me and misses. I've been a bit lucky there. And now it's pretty much all over for this guy. Get that shot in. And there's an STA2 up there. I was going to go up there and I noticed he was there. I turned at the last minute, but not quick enough. he gets a highly damaging shot in us for 233. That hurt. So after damage taken from the Churi, taking more from him now, it's not good. So I go out to quickly try and spot him. There he is. Managed to get a good shot into it, passing shot. I'm following him around because really I just don't want him to get behind me. So now he knows I'm coming, so I've got to be pretty careful just here. I'm proximity spotting, and as you see, my gun depression, I cannot get my gun to point at him. So I wait for him to come up, and you can see there the excellent armor. He actually bounces that shot. I don't know if we bounced off him or whether we just, what happened there. But this time he shoots into the side. As you can see, the side of the tank is weak, and we cop a shot. Fortunately for me, my teammates are on the ball, and they take care of him. I don't know if it was our artillery or what, but they now only have one tank left, which is the STA-1, which is in cap, which I didn't realise. I started driving this hill, and then I've got half up the hill. I go, oh, hang on, the only tank left is at cap. So now I turn around and start heading back. So as you can see, this tank is blisteringly fast. Little hills like this don't seem to really slow it down much. We're still doing 60 up that little bit of a rise there, and our teammates have taken care of the. So that ended up being a Class 1 badge in the tank. Quite happy with that game. Next screen, and we finished on top for XP, and it looks like we also finished on top for damage, did we? Yeah, we did. So we had a big influence on the game. And we fired 21 shots, of which 17 hit. The accuracy is pretty darn good. When you consider I was moving, and most of the shots I missed was, I think, rather firing at artillery, which was hardly even moving, but just mainly because of the gun depression. And 14 of those shots were hit with penetrated. Considering it was a tier 8 game, I'm pretty happy with that. Damage of 2,321 is pretty darn good, and only a small amount of that was actually at long range. We received 9 hits and 5 penetrates. So we managed to bounce 4 shots. In a scout tank, that's fantastic. Damage block bar was 650. There you go. And our total hit points are 950. So blocking 650 made a big difference to what we could do in the game. We spotted 4 vehicles, damaging 7 of them and destroying 3 of them with 876 assistance damage as well, which is not too bad. 43,000 income, not a particularly profitable tank, although I did spend 3,000 on a repair kit. Even so, repair, we weren't destroyed, we were damaged, but repair costs, ammunition costs, does add up in this tank a little bit. The 1,249 experience is a Class 1, so you can see that there's people out there having massive games in this tank, obviously, because it is pretty hard to get mastery. So, very good tank. The map is Arctic Region, and it's a tier 9 game. Quite common to get tier 9 games in this tank. There's only 3 tier 9s though on the enemy team. So I'm taking off like a rocket as you do in this tank, trying to get to an advanced scouting position. Now, I drove out to this advanced scouting position just the other day and was immediately spotted by a chaffee who I think may have been hacker, excuse me, and I was killed. Like, I parked like this and I exploded. Now in this case, we've got a tank very close by, so I pulled back. But the guy who spotted me was on the other side of the map in the game I just played. So, yeah, in that case the guy was close, fair enough. Anyway, you've got to be a little bit careful with that spot, but it can be a great spot if you get there quickly enough to spot the heavy tanks moving across the other side of the map and your artillery, and that can get some good damage done from your spotting there. However, some people do run in close like that to counter this position. So we've spotted that tank up the end there, Conway. Thinking about maybe taking a shot. Alright, not just thinking about it, I'm doing it. As you can see, good accuracy. I was going to say good penetration, but I don't think the Conway has any armor, does it? I haven't actually really had a good look at the Conway yet, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't have much in the way of armor. Fire another shot there, but we miss him, unfortunately, as he's going across. Well, we might have a chance here. Yes, oh, we clipped him. Well, I actually saw my shot pass over the top of his tank there, but apparently that's good enough for a hit in World of Tanks. It would have been lag, I guess. Anyway, that's what I'm claiming. So hopefully this guy will back out from behind this rock. The 50 FCM 50T. Sorry, what am I talking about? So yeah, good position this to do a good bit of spotting. I've probably used up the spotting of this spot, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really keen on going over this hill because having no gun depression means if I go over that hill just there, I have to basically go completely over the hill if I'm going to get a shot on anyone. So you really do have to fully commit. Now I know I really don't like scouting. I was going to show you a game in this tank that I had yesterday. I've got the replay where I spotted tanks for the entire game. I was taking a lot of risks. I got hit a couple of times. And I was lighting tanks up continuously. I got out of the game and I had 0 assistance damage. Tier 10 game. So, and all my tanks were in, oh, well, not all my tanks, but a bunch of my tanks were in positions to take shots on the people I was spotting up the whole time. And yeah. So I've really sort of given up on trying to do a purely spotting game. It's just luck now if I really get a good spotting game in. And this particular game, I think I do get a bit of spotting damage done, but I don't rely on it anymore. I really just rely on damage. So for me, if a scout tank can't do its own damage, it's just, for me, it's just no use driving it because I just can't get any experience. Now, there might be some people out there, or some of you who can really get big spotting damage. Somehow you can do it, you know a way of doing it. I can't do it, so I can't get it to work. Well, we bounced off him there. I do have 6th sense, so we haven't been spotted yet. So the camouflage is holding up alright. I do have camouflage net fitted. And my crew are all 100% trained in camouflage as well, so that does help. One other thing I haven't talked about yet is module damage, because generally speaking with light tanks you do get a lot of module damage, but this tank isn't as bad as most of the other light or scout tanks because I think the armor's better. It just seems to hold up a lot better, and possibly because it's Russian. I shouldn't say that. It's probably not true. But the gun does get taken out from time to time. Oh, we've got shots on here on a tier 9. Nice, he's tracked. He's just firing away, and oh, did we get the kill? Yeah, we did. Oh, how is that? Killed a tier 9. And there we have an AMX 1390. Can't seem to... He's moving really well. Oh, we got him. Good. Beginning to think we were never going to hit him. Okay, my shooting... I'm not timing my shots very well, am I? So yeah, the gun does get taken out. And occasionally the gunner gets taken out as well, and sometimes the driver gets taken out. But that's pretty much about it for the ones that happen, consistently. We've finally been spotted. So yeah, for things that happen consistently, that's about it. There are other things that do happen occasionally, like occasionally ammo rec gets taken out, occasionally, I think actually you'll find my turret gets locked any second now. Look, you can see there, we penetrated the front of that tank. I know it's not a heavily armoured tank. We bounced that time, but we did penetrate its front, so, the gun can do damage, it can do the job. You just can't sort of rely on it to penetrate those sort of tanks. Oh, I'm in a bit of a spot here. I ended up getting stuck on the rock. Oh boy, I really stuffed up coming out there, didn't I? Oh, I've been hit again. Oh, what a total stuff up. Okay, my turret just got locked. I used the repair kit to fix it. Can we get a shot on this guy? He's been killed. There's only one tank left. I decide I'm going to do a flying leap off the cliff into this guy. Here we go. Flying leap. He shoots us in midair. And the other guy does a flying leap into him. Yes. End of the game. So there's no pretending that I'm a great scout tank player or anything like that. I'm not. But I did enjoy this tank, and I have got my mark of excellence in the tank, so I did have a lot of sort of reasonably good games in the tank, and games like this one were quite common. Just didn't have a fantastic game like to get mastery, but generally speaking, I had pretty good games in it, and it was an enjoyable tank to drive. So good results screen there, like we did, had a good impact on the game. I think we finished on top for experience, not for damage, by a long shot, not for damage, but definitely for XP. And why did that happen? We fired 16 shots, 11 of them hit. Of the 11 hit, 9 penetrated. Not bad in a tier 9 game. We did 1,516 damage. 745 of that was from long range, so that's pretty good stuff. We received 5 hits. We bounced 1 of them. But hey, bouncing anything in a scout tank is a bonus. We spotted 3 vehicles, damaged 7, destroying 2 of them, and we did 1,951 assistance damage as well. So that's kind of nice to do that much actual damage plus that much assistance damage. 38,000 income for 27,000 profit. I don't think it's a super profitable tank, but it's definitely not a dud. It's not bad. 1,027 XP is a class 2 in the tank. Thank you for watching my review of the LTTB. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.